It's Friday, and I'm just going to do a quick follow-up on the woodchuck story. And I hope you've seen that video. If you've not, pause this and go watch that and come back. It'll make more sense. But yesterday I told the story in a video about my previous day, how it had gone very, very strangely, including I went and saw a concert, and a man next to me collapsed at the concert. There's a big brouhaha there that I was involved in. And then when I came home, I found out there was something in my garage. I thought it was a cat. Turned out to be a woodchuck. It eventually took me several hours of running around inside my garage trying to get this woodchuck to leave the building. And I posted the video. The video did very well. And I had somebody say, too bad there's not security cam footage of that. And my mind immediately thought, oh, wait, I bet there is, because I got cameras. So I went and pulled it up, because remember yesterday I was groggy all day. I had gotten such little sleep yesterday, I was almost non-functional. But I'm fine now. I got a great night's sleep last night. Slept like a dead man. So I pulled the security cam footage, and sure enough, it's there. Now, it's grainy. It was shot at night, and there are floodlights out there, but I'm running beyond the realm of the floodlights. So I'm just going to run that in the corner while we're talking, because it's not exactly high def. It was shot at night with a wide-angle lens from very far away, poorly lit, and there I am running around. So people asked me several things. This is number one, what were you wearing? Because people are trying to imagine this. I was wearing black running shorts and a gray T-shirt, one of these, but the gray ones. And I had in my hand, I mentioned I had this thing in my hand, and this is what I had in my hand, okay? This is a piece of wood with a handle on one end, and it's just basically like this, and they jokingly call these tire knockers, because a lot of guys who've got trucks carry these, and you can walk around and you can knock your tires with them. I assume that's what that's for. But of course, it's also the kind of thing that if you wanted to swing this at something, you could. And I was using this to try to poke at places where the woodchuck might be. Now, I wasn't beating on the cars with this, because the woodchuck spent a lot of his time hiding up in the wheel wells of my Viper and my Cobra. But he also was, like, for instance, when I wasn't in the room, jumping around on my ATV, climbing up on my shelves, climbing around on top of my lawn tractor. Somebody said, Steve, either you've got a lot of stuff or you've got a gigantic garage. No, I've got about 10 pounds of junk jammed into a 5-pound space. I do have 2 cars parked in like this, but the cars were way over. In fact, one of the problems I was having is the Viper was backed into the corner, because I wasn't going to be driving it for a while when I parked it. Backed it way into the corner, literally about this much space between the far wall and the passenger door. And I did that on purpose, because I'm not going to be walking through there. I put a cover over it, and it sat there. So then the Cobra was next to that, and then I've got an ATV, and I got a lawn tractor, and all this stuff, but it's all jammed in there. I told somebody, like a Tetris final screen. I mean, it was just all jammed in there, which was making it also even easier for the groundhog, woodchuck, whatever you want to call him, to run from one place to another. I mean, I'd get glimpses of him, and he'd be gone. And I'd be poking around, all of a sudden, zoom, he's gone again, you know? But anyway, so this is the thing I had in my hands. And he exited the garage and raced around the corner, running towards the darkness. And my concern was that he's going to run over and, like, get underneath my porch or something. So I wanted to get him away from the house. And as I was running towards him, he cut directly away from the house. And then when he saw me coming, he turned. I was kind of surprised. He turned and ran, and his route took us back onto camera. So you'll see me, I'm running along, and I've got this flashlight in my hands, right there. I got that flashlight in my hands. And I've got the flashlight in one hand and the stick in the other. I'm swearing up a blue streak, probably. No, actually, I wasn't swearing. But I was chastising him soundly. And we run past the pine trees and then across the driveway, and then I chase him into the brush over there, and he at one point in time stopped, like, are you done yet? And then he ran off, and he ran so deeply in the brush, I was not going to chase him. Because, like I said, I'm just wearing shorts and a T-shirt, and it wasn't crazy cold out or anything, but I would have gotten all scratched up going into the underbrush. I've not seen him since. I've since had a lot of very nice notes sent to me with things, people saying, you know, here's what you need to do, watch out for this. Next time it happens, you can do this. I am going to order a humane live trap, which I can use if I have to. But one thing I have to tell you is that I now know, I actually went back and I checked all of my recordings from the day before. off that camera to remind myself how many times I went in and out that garage door. Because the way it works is that my garage is closed all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, except for on rare occasions where I'm walking in and out or driving in and out. Okay? So I often will walk out of my house through my garage, and I've got 2 garage doors. I'll open one up, walk through it, and close it behind me. And what happened yesterday, and this is what happened, I guarantee this is what happened. I have an ATV, and I have to haul my garbage out. I routinely put the garbage in the ATV, back it out, take it down to the end of the driveway, and then come back, put the ATV back in the garage. I routinely leave the garage door open while I do that. And so I took the garbage out yesterday. It was still dark out, and I left the garage door open. And so it was still dark out. I suspect that there was this woodchuck around the side of the garage. I didn't see him. I backed out and drove away. He came around, and then as he heard me coming back up, he panicked and ran into the garage. That's what I think happened. Whether his motivation was panic or not, I don't know. But the only time the garage door was open for more than 60 seconds yesterday, or the day before, was when I was taking the garbage out and I left the garage door up. So the new protocol for my garage is that door is only up while I'm going through it, one way or the other, with something. Otherwise, it's closed. Okay? So normally it is closed. It is closed. But I used to routinely, for instance, go out and work in my yard. And I leave the garage door up because I'm going to be back in a few minutes to pull the lawn tractor back in or whatever. No. From now on, close. So the interesting thing about all this is that I've not had many woodchucks on my property. By the way, woodchucks are also called groundhogs. They're also called whistle pigs. There's all kinds of really wacky names for them. But they're all basically these little short-legged rodents, but they get big. And they predict the weather. And generally speaking, they burrow. And the problem is they burrow underneath things. They love burrowing under patios and cement. And so you got to be very, very careful because once they start burrowing, they go, oh my gosh, we got a cement roof. This is the greatest thing ever. And you can't let them do that. And so I talked to several people yesterday, including one of my brothers, who was telling me about this battle he had for months with these woodchucks in his backyard. And he finally won that battle, but it took him some time. And I've heard stories also from people who said they dug underneath like a slab. I had a shed on and the slab collapsed. Things like that. So they can be destructive. So that's the problem. So I like animals. I have no problem with these animals living on my property as long as they stay away from my house. And so there actually was a woodchuck. I saw him quite a bit last year. This is not the one that's in my garage, and I'll tell you why in a second. In fact, I'll try to do this if I can. I got a photograph of this woodchuck, and he has a really interesting, he's got a spot on his nose, a white spot on his nose. And I noticed that one day, and then whenever I saw a woodchuck, that's the one with the spot on his nose. But he was never closer than 100 feet to my house that I know of. And I would see where he would run if I came out with a tractor, for instance, and he ran over towards a spot where I think he had a burrow. I don't care. He can have that burrow all day long and live there a long, fruitful life and multiply and all that. I don't care as long as they stay over there. Now, the one I encountered the other night very well could be one of his kids or one of her kids. I don't know. It's so hard to tell their sex from a distance. But I've mentioned before, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it here. I'm pretty sure I have, though. On my property, I've got deer, turkeys, coyotes, fox, and all manner of field mice, meadow voles, squirrels. How exotic. And the interesting thing is that the rabbit population, you see it happen. It goes up, it goes down. It goes up, it goes down. And I think rabbits can have up to 3 litters a year. And I mean, I encounter baby rabbits all year round from basically when it's no snow on the ground. And what's keeping the rabbit population in check, I assume, is the foxes and the coyotes. But the woodchucks, I also believe that they are coyote food as well. So I like to think that what happened the other day was actually the fault of the coyotes not doing their jobs. Roadrunners, I understand. Woodchucks? Come on. They got legs this long. So anyways, that's the story of the woodchuck. I haven't yet had a chance because it was raining yesterday. It's kind of gloomy today. But I'm going to roll the cars out and climb around, make sure that he didn't chew on any wiring. The wiring they chew on, modern wiring in some cars has a insulation on it that's organic based. And for whatever reason, rodents like it. And I've done videos about this, about rodents chewing up the wiring underneath the hoods of cars because it tastes good, which is a problem. And so I don't think my Viper, which was built in '02, would have that kind of wiring on it. But the Cobra, possibly. So I have not looked at that yet. I will. And then as soon as it warms up, I'm going to take some cameras out and drive around in the Cobra and do a really good driving video with a walk around and looking at the engine and looking at everything else. And then I'll show you how little room there is inside the wheel well where the woodchuck was hiding on at least one occasion. And that's the one time I actually touched him. I had gloves on. And I actually reached in and I like that and I poked him. He got out of there and then he ran over underneath the Viper. So that was the whole confusion. He ran back and forth 100 times in front of a wide open door. So there you go. That's the wrap up on the woodchuck story. Or the whistle pig, if that's what you prefer. I had never heard whistle pig before, but I looked it up a while back and I saw that. It goes sometimes called a whistle pig. And I mentioned that yesterday. Somebody goes, no, that's what my grandmother used to call him. I'm like, oh, it does sound like an old school name, doesn't it? So the whistle pig will be determining our weather this spring. There you go. Questions or comments, put them below. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.